Roy, you never stop flying these airplanes until you shut them down in the parking area, and even then you got to be careful. If a gust of wind catches the tail, it can spin it around.
Well, especially with these aircraft too. I mean, they are literally irreplaceable. They're priceless artifacts of history that are in the skies here, and as we bring the hurricane in on
over Europe, Spitfire pilots became sitting ducks after their superior performance became evident in the first encounters. The Mark 9 was basically a Mark 5 Spitfire with a new Merlin 61 and later the 63, 66, or 70 engine installed. This engine, with its two-stage supercharger, gave twice the power at 30,000 feet of the earlier versions. The external difference of the Mark 9 were not immediately obvious in combat. They gave a very nasty surprise to the first Axis pilots who encountered it. Externally, it can be distinguished from the early Spitfires by a singly longer nose, a 4 instead of 3-bladed prop, 6 instead of 3 exhaust ducts on each side.
Bill Shepard fly the Yak 11 at air shows across Western Canada and in Western Washington. He also flies a Globe Swift. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again from the north, the B-25, the Mustang, and the Supermarine Spitfire. Patient Virgin, as I mentioned, is a P-51B model, distinguished by its Malcolm hood, which is essentially a bubble canopy to aid pilot visibility. That particular airplane was delivered in early 1944, and it came by its D-Day stripes quite honestly. It flew 4 sorties on D-Day on the 6th of June 1944 and flew more than 700 hours for the 376th Fighter Squadron based in England. Overall, in World War II, Impatient Virgin claimed 7 victories over the Luftwaffe aircraft before crashing in England in 1945, thus ending its fighting career. That wreckage decayed over many years in a farmer's field where it crashed. It took them about 3 years for them to recover that airframe. Basically, they were waiting for the crop harvest to be finished. And they fully excavated the aircraft in 2005, and after a full restoration, it arrived at the the Historic Flight Foundation in 2000.
Now listen to the sound of history.
Ready?
Sound of a Merlin on a Saturday afternoon, don't you folks?
It is music to my ears, I can tell you that much. As we see, Grumpy is lining up for his fly past in just a few moments here today.
Just a while ago, Grumpy flew to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, and took part in a 4-day event commemorating the 70th anniversary of the Doolittle raid. Grumpy was part of a 20-ship fly past. Can you imagine? And look how maneuverable this aircraft is as he banks it one way and then the other. Coming in from the north, Grumpy.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you look real close, I think you'll see that the bomb bay doors are open on Grumpy as he wing waggles his way down the runway. And Michael Kopp. They just love flying this airplane at air shows along the northwestern Washington and western trips to Alaska at 100 knots. John got the itch for a little more stick and rudder, and that started his interest in warbird flying. Here comes another look at Grumpy, the B-25.
He also took part in a flight pass over the USS Hornet, which was the successor to the USS Hornet used for the DR later in April. So very historic carrier and a very historic aircraft.
First up, the P-51B Mustang.
Comes the Spitfire.
None other than Mr. John Sessions, the founder of the historic Flight Foundation. His passion for aviation began with a spontaneous visit in 1983 to a flying club at Series. Several thousand hours later, he got into the classic warbird flying. Here comes the Mustang from the north.
Also notice the unusual markings on that Spitfire, not the usual RAF rondelles on there. Colors of the Czechoslovakian Air Force, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, is that ever cool? As they both come in, Grumpy on short final, and the Mustang and the Spitfire, like you say, doing top cover. Here they come. Pretty good aircraft, had the Allison engine in it. Then they got the idea, let's put the Merlin in there. That's what they did. And with the drop tanks, many of the drop tanks, by the way, were made of corrugated cardboard. It was a non-essential material like aluminum was, so they made them out of basically paper. And then when you empty them, or if you were bounced by the enemy, you would drop the tanks, would fall to the earth, and it was something that the enemy could not use because, well, they had a lot of paper but didn't have a lot of aluminum. So a little bit of trivia there. But of course, with that, you could go all the way to Berlin and back.
They roll the canopies back as soon as they land, so just in case they need to get out of the airplane as quickly as possible, they don't have to worry. The L3 is a liaison aircraft flown by Dan Barry, nicknamed the Grasshopper.
And that's a high-speed pass right there for the Grasshopper, I think.
Straight off the takeoff and into the high-speed pass. The L3 was initially designated the 058 at the time it was first ordered by the Air Corps, a designation prefix that was
And by golly, looks like we've got a third version of the CJ6A. Like I say, very popular machine, very easy to fly, very easy to work on as well. What's interesting is to start the aircraft, you use compressed air.
Sure you would.
I'd totally do that.
turbochargers.
It looks like a low altitude high-speed capture.
It's coming out.
Getting busy.
What that plane is?
Enjoy their newfound firefighting capability.
Holy, he's booking.
It's takeoff roll. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Flight of the